Some of us enjoyed that extra hour of sleep this weekend after turning back the clocks. And while we might welcome the extra rest in the fall, daylight saving time leads to a huge debate, including in the medical field. Dr. Reena Mehta joins us now to break down the effect on the body. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, we can kind of blame Ben Franklin, who threw it out sort of as a joke, I guess.
That's in 1784 is when the concept was proposed as a joke by Ben Franklin as a thought to save on candle use. Now in World War I is when we really started to implement it as a way to save energy, and it became widespread in the 1960s.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. I always find I use, fewer candles this time now. All right.
Exactly.
So there are some serious debates about this, though, including an effect on mood as we go from one time to the other.
Right. So in the fall, the biggest consequence is we shift our daylight to the morning hours. And so when that happens, for many of us, when we're driving home from work, it's already dark. Well, losing that 1 hour of daylight can actually really have a big impact on mood. And researchers have showed that there's been an 11% increase in rates of depression in the fallback time.
I must confess that those of us who work this crazy shift and wake up in the middle of the night tend to really love this time of year, but most of the people around me, my loved ones, hate going back to the normal time. They want daylight saving time.
Right, so that loss of that 1 hour of sunlight can really have an impact on one's mood, because sunlight actually increases our serotonin levels, which is called our happy hormone. So less sunlight means less of that happy hormone.
Is there a vitamin D issue really, or is it, is that overplayed? You're not in the sun as much?
Exactly. I think it's more of a mood issue because our hormones are a little bit off and we're craving that sunlight.
I really do think it probably, you could look at it and say, really, from a medical standpoint, it's just 1 hour.
But it really affects our circadian rhythm. Our circadian rhythm is our internal alarm clock, because what happens with daylight savings is it doesn't actually increase the amount of daylight, but it shifts the time that the sun rises and falls. And that 1 hour shift can really have an impact on our internal alarm clock.
So from a medical standpoint, how do you adjust? What do you do?
Well, if you woke up feeling a little bit off this morning, know that you're not alone. And if you're a parent like me, whose children don't understand the concept of daylight saving and still wake you up, there are a few things that you can do that can help. So the first thing I would suggest is try keeping your normal sleep pattern. So, try to keep the hours of sleep that you were previously having the same. Number two, try to adjust your lifestyle so that you can increase your sun exposure. And some people have suggested that sun lamps can be helpful because they can mimic the sunlight but not give you that UV radiation.
And some thought that fasting may benefit?
There's this big concept of intermittent fasting right now, and so some researchers have actually proposed that intermittent fasting can help you adjust to the time when you're off during daylight saving time.
The dog started barking last night at 5 o'clock. What's the problem? And
He's hungry.
She wanted her 6 o'clock treat.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I posted that on Facebook, and the other people's, mine too, so that the pets don't get it.
The only other health consequence I wanted to bring up was during the springtime with Spring Forward, researchers have actually proposed an increase in heart attacks by 5%. The thought is that you're waking up early, your body's more vulnerable to stress, and you're a little bit off. In the fall, that actually settles down. With getting that extra hour of sleep, you actually have a decreased rate of heart attacks in the fall.
All right, Dr. Reena Mehta, thanks so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it as always.